What's up, guys? It's MrAeroHD here, and we're doing something a bit different. I wanted to do the first gen Land Rover. That's what I had my heart set on. Someone was like, you should do it, and I was like, oh my god, like it would be hilarious, we should do it. But the problem is that there's no drift suspension. So I mean, I can, but I figured I don't want to today. I'm like, oh, I'll see what the subscribers think. If they really want me to do it, then I'll do it. Before I get into anything, guys, on Monday, I'm doing a 50-lap drift marathon on Twitch. So I have a little layout that I made in Edinburgh, which takes about 7 or 8 minutes. I'm going to do 50 laps. It's going to be like 5 or 6 hours. It should be a lot of fun, so come by and stop and hang out with us there. I'm going to see if I can do at least like 10 or 20 laps in one combo. Should be fun. So go ahead and drop me a follow there. I will put out a video when I go live on Monday. So if you don't want to follow me right now, then I could just, you know, whatever. Anyway, so I want to do something a bit wacky. None of the SUVs really interested me. Nothing grabbed me like the Land Rover did. So I started looking through the cars and went, huh, there's the Tri-5, but not the Tri-5. So like the regular one, which I'll be referring to as the Chevy 150 because I know nothing about old American cars. So, and it gets drift suspension. So that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. So I'm going to make this car into a skitty boy. It should be, I don't think it's going to be hard per se. I think it should be pretty easy. These cars usually get ridiculously sized. Ooh, you get the vintage race tires. I'll pass. I think they're basically just sport tires anyway. We'll go to 75, so we don't have to have like a bunch of horsepower. That should be good. Now for wheels. All right, that was easy. Literally picked the first one that I found. One of the first wheels that I found. Just a simple 5-spoke. Looks nice, but gonna probably have to LS this car. I'm gonna try to build it with its stock engine, just because LSing is, like, you know, maybe a little bit boring. I'm actually surprised that there's no come on, is that not the best thing ever? I'm actually really surprised there's no wait, 27. That's pretty light. I'm surprised there's no offset for the front. But I guess, you know, if they had adjustable offset, you couldn't slam it to the goddamn ground like this is. So, I'll let that pass. So, okay. Start off in the low hundreds. What can we do? Come on, stock engine. I don't know if it's like an inline 6 or a V8 in this. Let's say it's a 5-liter, but old American engines, that can literally mean anything. Twin turbos, and it's only got 300 horsepower, 350. Come on, you bastard. No. 420. If it sounds good, I'll make it work. If it just sounds okay, then we'll put the LS in it. God damn it, it sounds good. All right, since it sounds good, then we're gonna have to make it work with the horsepower it has, so adjustments must be made. I'm gonna go to a 235 tire in the back instead of a 275. We'll do 195s in the front. I might switch to sport tires to compensate, but right now we'll leave them the way they are. Other than that, I think that should be plenty. That's fine. So I'm gonna throw a quick paint on this, and I'll meet you guys at the festival section. Okay, hello. We're at the festival section. Just to show you guys what I did with the car here really fast. It's like a black burgundy two-tone that I made, and then I just put black wheels on it. Just keep it simple. I made it purple, and I was like, oh, it looks nice purple, but it seems like all my cars are purple nowadays, so I was like, I'll try to do something a little bit different. I tried like a green, and I was like, oh, that's not good, and then I tried red, and I was like, normally I don't like red cars. Not a big red car person, so. Alright, these gears are really weird, but I feel like what I just did to them would make them worse. I'm not going to run a lot of positive camera in the back because there's not a whole lot of horsepower, so there's not really a need to do that. Anti-roll bars. I'm going to try my normal 2010 split. This should be fine. Again, I don't think this car is necessarily going to be difficult to drive. Oh, man. Oh, man. That's gonna look, it's gonna take the look away, but it's gonna make the car handle better. Like, I don't really care if the look isn't perfect, but it has to drive. Like, if it doesn't drive well, then what's the point? You know, if it drives like shit, then I'm never gonna want to play it or play with it. So lower it. This is all pretty standard stuff. Brakes, I'm gonna determine, that's about right. Diff, I'll probably just lock it just to see how it does, because it is kind of a little bit of a low horsepower. It's almost like a little American missile car. Oh, that's worse. That's not slammed to the goddamn ground. But it'll be worth it if the car works. Ah! Come on! It's like, no horsepower! You weak fuck! Why? Why is this engine so gutless? I hate America in the 1950s. You guys are supposed to be good at V8s, but they're all massive and they do nothing. I'm upset. This car could probably work with like an extra 500 horsepower, but it just so gutless. Either that or this is the grippiest car in the world. I'm gonna try stock tires maybe. Slight concern. Stock tires brought the car down to C class. So now I don't know if the tires will be so shit that I can't do anything, but we'll have only one way to find out. Alright, it's definitely less grip, but how much less is the problem? Okay, I see what this is about. This is the kind of car that people would use in points lobbies in Forza 7 before they redid the points. It's got plenty of power and drives, but because the tires have so little grip, it like barely moves. It is slow as shit. But I guess that kind of fits the whole theme of the car, right? Like low and slow. I understand it's not necessarily a lowrider. It's kind of like a hot rod type deal. Oh god, sorry. Sorry, car. It's kind of like a hot rod type deal, but a car this low you wouldn't expect to be going 180 miles an hour anyway. I'm just hitting every wall because there's no front grip. But I don't think I can put wider tires on it because this is actually handling pretty decent. I just have to get used to it. Yeah, it's super slow. It's like not moving. Oh, good. I like when the frames drop for no reason. Thank you. Thank you much. Car's drivable though. It works. And I don't think I've even adjusted tire pressures yet. I probably haven't. But yeah, this is definitely driftable now. So if you want to keep the stock engine in it, like, I mean, if you LS this will be easy, really super easy to drive. You can basically copy and paste the setup that I made if you really don't want to deal with the stock engine. But holy shit, this is actually really usable. So let me go into the tire pressure. Yeah, let's just drop these down to like flat, basically. Do that. Cool. I'm actually going to try dropping the front end, not because I think it'll make a difference, but because I want it to look cooler. So, I dropped it by like a click or two. It's still, this is a little bit more even now. Front end doesn't look like it's fucking jacked up into space. Alright. That's a bit better. Again, it's still slow as shit. This is definitely like a low speed track. This is still like a mid to high speed course with a lot of momentum, so it's still getting around here, but I don't think this is one of those 80 miles an hour long sweeping turn cars. I mean, it's a drift car in C class, so this doesn't surprise me. It's fun. It's fun to drive. It's different. That's kind of why I wanted to build it. It's not like anything I've driven in this game before. It's got no grip, but tons of grip at the same time. So you're like, oh my god, I'm gonna spin out, and then like the drift suspension and the fairly decent sized rear tire, like, hey bruv, don't you worry, we've got you. So you're basically just like not moving. It's relaxing almost. It's really weird. And like a regular car, like an S13 or whatever, you have it really gripped up and the car is dialed, so you know you're carrying a decent amount of speed. This you can do basically the same thing, but you're not fucking moving. I would say it's almost like a good beginner car, but like speed doesn't really matter in terms of being able to hold a slide or not. It's not like this, like it transitions any slower. Like it still handles the same. It's just like at 50% speed, which is still pretty interesting. Like I figured the tire would be so bad that the car would just spin out, but like no, it's still pretty easy to drive. It's still a little bit grippy, but I really don't want to go down in tire size. All right, I'm gonna try one more thing before we go somewhere else. I need the front to be slammed. So it's currently at 5.7. I'm going to go back to 3.1. Because, like, look how much cooler that looks. And if this even remotely works, I'm leaving it. If it feels like absolute ass, then we'll go back. I will sack. Oh my god, the front end does nothing now. The front end's just like, I don't know what you want me to do, dog. Yeah, the front end's so tight. It does nothing. No! Why couldn't you be good? Why couldn't you be good? Damn it! I need it for more aesthetic. We'll go back to 5 point. What do we have? 5.7? Yeah, I'm gonna try it in Edinburgh somewhere. Probably. Yeah. Came to the circles, a little bit high speed. I want to see how this fares at a high speed. I can't imagine it's going to be well, but I'm just curious. You know, figure if this is a car test show, which it kind of is. Oh yeah, traffic, I forgot. I should probably show you guys this car handling out of its element. So if you go on an open lobby with your friends, and you're like, well, I've got something cool, and they're like, what is it? Is it a S14? And you're like, nope. And then you pull this thing out. Oh, it's just got a little bit too much grip, but I don't know if I wanna fuck with it because it handles well. It's drivable. Hold on, let me just tighten the gears up just a hair. The gearing is so weird, stock. Like this is a tight fucking gear ratio, and where are we at now? Like a 4 point, like really high. I know I'm weird and I like to drift my cars in like 3rd and 4th gear, but that's ridiculous. Oh yeah, it would make sense too, right? Because this is a twin turbo car, so it would feel better high RPMs. Hello, Mini. Yeah, Mini has decided we're. I will say nothing, and I have seen nothing. That was fucking witchcraft. He did his little dance, and when you shall not pass, and then just drove away. I was like, okay, goodbye. Yeah, it feels a little bit better now that I can get it up into higher horsepower, or higher horsepower, idiot, higher RPM. Smooth as shit. Holy shit. I guess that is the price you pay for, or the pro to the con of its lack of speed. It is so smooth. Like, I barely have to make any adjustments while drifting, and it just looks like it's the smoothest thing in the world. Can I shoot the gap here? Kind of. Didn't really work because, oh, goodbye. Didn't really work, but this thing is just sick. I like it. Not something I'll pull out all the time, but definitely something that on occasion I'll be like, hey, I got this weird car that I built that I want to show you guys. And people are like, what? Winky face. And I'll be like, oh, it's a actual 1955 car that actually looks good and handles half decent. And if it was up to this would be a perfect lead car for somebody who wants to learn how to tandem. If you know how to drive and one of your buddies wants to learn how to tandem and they're not really quite sure what they're doing, this car just has no speed to it, right? So they won't have to work to keep up with you. They can focus more on the actual art of staying on your door and how to manage their speed and maintain their speed. So I mean, class doesn't mean a whole lot in drifting, but this, like, it's a C-class drift car. You should know by now. But it's not fucking bad, dude. And I'm sure you could put sport tires on it and an LS and goodbye, friend. And get all the grip and speed that you want out of it. But that's kind of, I figure if people have made this into a drift car, they've already done that. We have the technology and the tools to do stuff a little bit different. So let's do stuff a little bit different. It's so smooth. I love it. That was way too much clutch. I was like, hey, when's the traffic gonna stop? Luckily, traffic's kind of not super hard to avoid here. That's my favorite part. Just a little tap, just tapping in. Just a little tip. And then this is the real struggle. As long as you take kind of a wide line and let the car cut in on its own. I know it's raining, but like still. Yeah, as long as you go kind of wide and let the car cut in. Oh, is that the way I was supposed to go? No. God, I always forget. I'm the worst. It's not so bad. And right here is kind of same thing. As long as you hit your line right. You should see me coming, Land Rover, and not be a fucking cuck about it. So it's either stay there or get the heck out. Now there's a Mini that came out of nowhere. Man, I miss when there was no traffic. That was fun. But as far as I could say on high-speed sections, it is fine. It's definitely not going to do as well as something with 800 horsepower and big grippy tires, but it's competent. It drives fine. So I'm going to go somewhere maybe a little bit lower speed and see how it compares. Okie doke. Here at the parking lot, this is where I tested my low power 240. This is a fun little place to do for low horsepower cars. And because this car is slow, it might actually handle better with your friends, for cars your friends have. This track has like a finite amount of speed you can get on it. So let's do this layout first. Oh, there's the lack of grip. There it is. Finally found it. Now that it's not struggling to just get sideways. It is raining, but like, again, I can't control that. I love Horizon. It's a fun game. Yeah. This reminds me of Forza 4. When you'd go on the points lobbies and you'd see those guys in muscle cars and they're like C-class. And they'd always win. And you're like, how the fuck? Why are they always winning? And then you see that, you'd get behind them. And they'd be going like 9. And you'd be like, oh, I get it. Okay. So if that's what you're into, then this is the perfect car for you. In fairness, I still think it's fun because of what it is. It's an old-ass American car. It's not even like a muscle car. It's just a car. This was just like an old coupe, like a no frills. I don't really know the history of this car to be honest, because I'm not 45 years old or a old American car buff. My knowledge starts coming in around the 80s. But this car is fantastic. Like it's got its own charm to it. If this was an S13 handling like this, I'd be like, nah, this is boring. But just because of what it is and what it looks like, it's different, and I appreciate that. But I think these cars are relatively cheap to buy. I wasn't really paying attention when I bought it. It's if you have one in your garage already, it should be worth trying out. It's different. Even if you're just doing figure eights, like just so smooth. And actually very easy to drive once you learn how it handles. Oh yeah, now we got some grip. And just mat it. You can really just lay on the throttle. And transition. It's actually kind of slow transitioning. It doesn't even weigh that much either. It's like 2,700. From a car from this era, I kind of expected it to weigh more, but at the same time, I guess the only safety feature was what you'd had for breakfast that day. That's the only airbag, but just lay on the throttle. This engine actually sounds great too. Not that I don't hate the sound of the LS, but like, it's one of the most common, if not the most common V8 swap in the game. So if you need to V8 swap a car, you hear it. So even if it does sound good after a while, especially since it's the same sound, I believe, that was in Forza 7, it gets old. It gets really boring, and I don't like listening to it. Also, it sounds good, but like not great. You know, like you swap in a Mercedes V8, or I think it's a Mercedes V8, and you're like, oh. And LS just sounds like, in this game, before people yell at me like, LS is one of the best sounding engines in real life. Like, in the game, it just sounds like tinny and kind of wrong. I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's just inaccurate or just what they went with, but like, it just doesn't sound like what I expect an LS to sound like. Sounds very artificial, I guess would be the word. I'll do one more. This is what happens. This is how you know a car's fun. Binging with Babish has his clean plate club. I have my I can't stop drifting club. If I don't like a car, I'll be like, okay, cool, video's done, goodbye. I said the car was good just because I didn't want to seem like an asshole to those who wanted me to do it. Peace. But, oh, a little straight in there. I'm not perfect. Thank you guys for watching. If you have suggestions for the next video, please leave them in the description below. Sorry about the lack of videos this week. I have no excuse for other than I am a dumbass. And I'll be seeing you again next week for some more stuff. So again, if you don't follow me on Twitch already, please do. I have a Twitter account as well, which is aeroteq, AEROTEQ. Thank you very much. I love you. I'm gonna kiss you right in the mouth. Peace.